Friends, this week we have the incredible privilege to read the last parsha of the Torah, Parshas Vezos Habracha. And of course, we always read this parsha on the great holiday of Simchas Torah. So it's sort of a double celebration. It's the last parsha of the Torah, and it's also the great holiday of Simchas Torah as well. There's a famous pasuk, a famous verse in this parsha. This is in Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 4. Torah tziva lanu Moshe morasha kihilas Yaakov. Torah was commanded to us by Moshe, a heritage for the congregation of Yaakov. The question is, why does it say specifically that it's a heritage for the congregation of Yaakov? What does it mean by heritage? What does it mean by congregation of Yaakov? I would have thought that if we're going to say it's an inheritance, we would say that it should be after the first Jew who ever lived, which is, of course, is Avram Avinu, Abraham, our forefather. Why did it specifically pick Yaakov, pick Jacob? So the answer is, it's a beautiful answer from Chidushei HaRim, the first Ger Rebbe. He says that Yaakov Avinu, Jacob, our forefather, over all of the Avos and Imos, over all of our forefathers and our matriarchs as well, he represented struggle. He represented difficulty, he represented challenges, he represented pain. His entire life was an up and down sort of topsy-turvy ride. He had a lot of triumphs as well, but he had so much difficulty. His future father-in-law tricked him, Lavan. He was on the run for years from his own brother Esav. And then, of course, the worst of it all was his most beloved son, his beloved son Yosef. Joseph was taken from him for so many years. Such a painful life story. And yet, he always always strove to get closer to God, always strove to get closer to Hashem. By the way, Yaakov is the one who's associated with Sukkos. It says that Yaakov built Sukkos in the Torah. Sukkah, of course, represents our temporary dwelling place. Some of the struggles that we have in this world, we have to face the elements, so to speak, that are outside. That's Yaakov's struggle, and therefore, we need Yaakov to help us with our connection to the Torah, because our life is filled with difficulties, filled with struggles. And so Yaakov comes in and reminds us, even with these struggles, even with these difficulties, you can get close to God, you can get closer to the Torah. There's a beautiful Gemara, a beautiful portion in the Talmud that says that when we say Morasha Kihilas Yaakov, it's the heritage for the congregation of Yaakov, or inheritance. He says, don't read it as heritage, read inheritance, rather read it as Morasa. Instead of the word Morasha, read it Morsa. Morsa means betrothal. Why specifically? How is it that it's a betrothal to the congregation of Yaakov? What's the difference between a marriage and an inheritance? So an inheritance is a one-time thing. It's a property or money, whatever it is, something that's given over to someone's children, usually. But a marriage is something that's permanent. It's something that's ongoing. It's long-term. We're in this for the long term. Through the ups and downs, there's a constant love, even when there's so many difficulties in the world. That's the message of Yaakov. That's the imparting message of the Torah. We're going to go through challenges. We're going to have struggles, but God is with us in the long term. This is our ma'orsa. This is our marriage. This is our betrothal to our divine Creator. What a message. What a message before this specific Simchas Torah, the anniversary, the Hebrew anniversary for October 7th. It was such a painful day. And everyone I'm sure here remembers so vividly when the stories start to spread little by little about how big of a catastrophe, how big of a tragedy that day was. And yet we're here. We're here to celebrate Simchas Torah again. We're in a me'orsa, we're in a marriage with our Creator, with the Master of the world. Let us take this message into Simchas Torah. Let us take this message into Vezos Habracha, into the coming year. Let this year that we know we're in a long-term relationship with our Creator, even with the struggles, even with the difficulties, but we're with Him, of course, in the triumphs and joy as well. Wishing everyone here a beautiful Simchas Torah and a wonderful Shabbos Kodesh. Thank you for listening.